Hi guys, good afternoon. You've tuned into Moneycontrol. I'm Karunya Rao, and joining me today is my colleague Rachita Prasad. We are here to break down the numbers of Reliance Industries for you. Rachita tracks the space very closely, the company very closely. Rachita, it's been a solid set. It's at least on a consolidated basis, operational performance definitely beats the street expectations. Let me quickly flag off the headline numbers before we deep dive into the fine print. Revenue came in at 1.85 lakh crores. On a QOQ basis, it was up 12%. It actually came in at 2.07 lakh versus 1.85 lakh. Sorry, I stand corrected there. EBITDA was up 5.5% QOQ at 31,336 crores. Operating margins 15.13% versus 16.05% on a QOQ basis. PAT came in at 16,203 versus 18,549 crores. So largely decent set, I would say. But what were the big highlights? What did you get from the fine print, Rachita?
Hi, Karunya. You just gave a lot of numbers, and yes, big numbers there. And let's try to figure out what has actually gone behind the numbers. If you look at the performance this quarter, as cliched as it sounds, it is truly a broad based growth. I mean, for Reliance, across businesses, every business has performed very well. Let's start off with the energy side. The O2C business had a very robust quarter. The O2C business is the oils to chemicals business, and this is where, despite the volatility in the international market, Reliance has done pretty well. In fact, the oil and gas business, which in the last few years was a laggard, has performed very well. It has kind of reported a turnaround there with production in KG-D6 going up. Retail has had a very strong quarter as well. There was some we spoke to the management addressed media yesterday, and they said that the first month, January, was a slightly softer month for them because that's when Omicron had hit, and there was some kind of weakness because of that. But overall, very very strong quarter there as well. Geo platform again has performed very well, and their the digital business overall has done well in terms of the figures. If you look at the ARPU, which is the average revenue per user, has gone up, and
Hmm.
it's gone up to 167 from 155. But what is interesting is the commentary that they gave, which is
Hmm.
that they're not just increasing customers, but the customer mix is changing, and that is what is driving growth there. So all in all, if you look at the businesses, I mean, for a conglomerate like Reliance, it's been interesting because all businesses have done pretty well.
Rachita, oil and gas and O2C space is something that you look at very closely. So, how would you rate their performance? Because if I look at the segmental update, revenue for O2C business hit an all-time high this time around, 5 lakh crore mark on the back of high oil prices. So, definitely a big tailwind coming in there because of oil prices, right?
So, it's interesting because this quarter in particular has been, I'm referring to the January March quarter, has was very volatile for the energy market.
Hmm.
Understand the geopolitical condition here, because this is when the Russia attack on Ukraine happened. And even before that, to the run up to that, the oil prices had really been soaring. So,
Yeah.
that, of course, had been. In the background, this actually has reflected in the O2C revenue because it is a raw material for them. So the revenue has boosted significantly because of the high crude oil prices. But what is interesting is, if you look at the O2C business, which actually accounted for a little over 50% of the group's EBITDA, uh, the O2C business has done well across the segments. If you look at products, the margins have been very strong. I'm just looking at some of the figures here, and the realization has been strong across downstream products. Mainly the transport fuel that has been very strong in this quarter. There was some bit of weakness coming in from naphtha cracks, but that was more than offset by the transport fuel, which has remained strong. And in this quarter again, there was a strong recovery in Asia for transport fuel, and
Hmm.
there were a lot of uncertainties, in Europe because of the Russia-Ukraine conflict. So that really helped the prices, and the margins were really strong. So
Yeah.
the O2C business actually has been quite strong in the quarter. And like I said before, the oil and gas business again, that has been an interesting journey, because in this quarter they have reported really strong revenues. I mean, it's gone up 136%. So that has
Hmm.
come on the back of the increase in production. If you look at the KGD6 blocks, and what has happened is they have been able to start production from the R cluster and satellite cluster. So that production, it's over 18 MMS CMD, sorry, MMS CMD, and that production coming upstream has really helped the company kind of turn around the business. And like I said, gas price realization was also high, so that kind of helped them overall, and that's why this business also has had a performance which has been the best in 7 years so far.
Okay, let's move on to the retail business now. According to what we understand, there was a mild miss this time around, and looks like Omicron impact was harder than anticipated. But at the same time, highest quarterly revenue in retail business is something that they clocked in. Can you tell us a bit more about how the quarter panned out for this particular segment of Reliance Industries, and if they've given anything interesting in their commentary?
Yeah, like you said, Karunya, this quarter, of course, I mean, last 2 years have been a little bit of a flip flop for most of the retail sector. So this quarter, of course, was impacted a little bit initially because of Omicron. But
Hmm.
what the management shared was that beyond Jan, they saw recovery, and store revenues actually have been significantly high. In fact, I think they said that all-time high revenue and profit in this quarter. So that's significant. They
Hmm.
have in this financial year they have added around 2,500 stores. They have crossed the benchmark 15,000 store milestone overall. So they're investing across the supply chain, and clearly looks like the retail space going ahead will be driven by new acquisitions and partnerships. This is what their strategy has been so far, and clearly that would be a focus area going ahead.
What about, some of the forward-looking commentary? Anything interesting or anything that caught your eye when it comes to energy space or overall for the business of Reliance Industries? Anything that you would like to flag off to our viewers?
So, Karunya, Reliance is not known to be giving too many forward looking statements traditionally, but they
Hmm.
do indicate the road ahead. And uh, like I said, Geo, they are expecting strong numbers going ahead. In fact, they were very upbeat on the customer acquisitions. Sorry, pardon me. And they spoke about the 5G rollout. They said the network is ready and we are ready for the rollout. Retail again, they are very upbeat on rolling out more stores, and more partnerships, getting more brands. The energy business, of course, continues to be the main business for the group even now. And a few things that, of course, everybody is watching out for is what they would do in the clean energy space. Not too many new inputs there from the management this time, but they have very categorically chalked out a plan which involves around a total of 75,000 crores of investment in clean energy, which if you look at the split, 60,000 crore rupees would be invested on gigafactories that they are setting up for clean energy, and another 15,000 crores for the supply chain. And that is where the company is already moving quite fast, and they have been announcing tie-ups for green hydrogen and across the spectrum. And Mr. Ambani was quoted as saying that the focus is going to be on sustainable and affordable energy. This is something that he's been talking about very frequently, the
Hmm.
focus on affordable energy. In fact, they have spoken about making green hydrogen affordable and how India could have a leadership position in that. So the investments there, how it rolls out, would be very interesting, not just for Reliance, but actually for the Indian energy space, because Reliance's entry per se has been, quite an interesting game changer of sorts,
Yeah.
and they're moving fast. So that we'll have to wait and watch. On the conventional energy side, of course, a lot of variables in the global market. The management said that they expect the global oil demand to continue, and they're expecting it to grow strong. But having
Mm.
said that, there are a lot of variables because of the Russia Ukraine situation, and now with the European Union, I mean, the sanctions that are being announced on Russia, that would cause some kind of disruption in the crude oil market and also on the product side. But what interesting part that they mentioned was that despite that, they expect demand to be strong. In fact, industrial demand would be resilient going ahead as well. So again, it will be something that we'll have to watch out for, because the global market is going through quite a volatile phase. So that is
Mm.
interesting. Another thing which they mentioned in the press release yesterday was on the under recoveries in the fuel retail space. This is something that has been a bit of a topic of discussion last few months, because oil retailers were not really revising the fuel price despite the increase in crude oil prices. So Reliance, among
Yeah.
other things, said that the under recoveries could adversely impact both existing operations and the appetite to invest in the sector. So that
Okay.
that is a word of caution there. Of course, since March, there have been regular increase in fuel retail prices, but we'll have to wait and watch and see how the under recoveries play out.
Another important thing that we'll have to wait and watch to see is how the stock will open on Monday. All eyes definitely will be on Reliance
Absolutely,
Industries, and
absolutely.
brokerage reactions will also start trickling in. So let's wait and see how it pans out. But Rachita, great chatting with you. Thanks for getting us the big highlights of RI's Q4 performance. All eyes now on the stock price. Thank you so much, guys, for tuning in.
Thank you, Karunya. Thank you, and